Sometimes it feels like you're living in someone else's reality, as if you've been swapped out. The same events keep repeating. People feel like copies. You try your best, but it's as if someone invisible is pulling the levers. And you ask yourself, is this even my life? Or am I just a character in someone else's script? But what if I told you, you're the one creating it? Every thought, every coincidence, every random encounter, unconsciously, but by law. There are 50 of them, invisible, powerful, ancient. Some empower you, others hold you back. But you can't opt out of playing by their rules. Today you'll discover the laws your reality actually runs on, and how to finally take the controls back into your own hands. The law of oneness. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean. You come in a single drop. When you think you're on your own, you cut yourself off from the source of power. For example, when you yell at a cashier, well, you're yelling at yourself, because the world is a web. Every thread is connected. Want to improve your reality? Start by improving your relationships, even with those who owe you nothing. The law of vibration. Imagine you're a radio station. If you're broadcasting Fear 89.7 FM, you won't receive Success 101.3 FM. The frequencies just don't match. Have you noticed that when you're in flow, everything falls into place? People, ideas, money, they come effortlessly. That's because you're vibrating in resonance with that flow. And on days when you feel low, everything breaks down. Same reality, but you're on a different wavelength. The law of correspondence. As within, so without. Your outer world isn't a painting. It's a mirror. A messy room, often a reflection of inner chaos. Money troubles, sometimes a reflection of guilt or feeling unworthy. It's like trying to fix your hair by poking at the reflection in the water instead of touching your actual head. The law of cause and effect. Reality isn't a lottery. Every thought is like a seed. You just don't always see when it will sprout. You want more love, but you're angry, resentful, pushing others away. That's like trying to grow a rose by watering it with vinegar. Karma isn't punishment. It's the receipt for the order you placed. The law of polarity. Every problem is a solution, just seen from the other side. Cold and heat are the same phenomenon, just at different points on a scale. Feeling fear? Opportunity is somewhere nearby. Feeling alone? That's just the opposite pole of connection. And often, to change your life, you don't need to break the system. You just need to shift along the scale. The law of rhythm. Like waves in the ocean. Tide in, tide out. Like breathing. Inhale, exhale. You won't always be at your peak. And that's okay. You're not in depression. You're in the pause before the next rise. The most dangerous thing is to get stuck in the downswing and believe it's forever. The law of gender. Within every person lives both the sun and the moon. The masculine is action and strategy. The feminine is intuition and acceptance. Imagine you're a car. Masculine energy is the engine. Feminine energy is the navigator. Strong people burn out when they drive without a navigator. And dreamers stay dreamers if they never hit the gas. The law of attraction. You are a magnet, not to the world itself, but to the versions of the world that match your vibration. Ever thought all clients are ungrateful? And the universe replies, all right, here, have some more. But the moment you shift your inner belief, the world around you starts to shift too. The law of reflection. What triggers you isn't about them, it's about you. Imagine every person in your life as an actor playing a role to show you where it still hurts. Your husband's control makes you angry. Maybe you're not giving yourself freedom. Annoyed by the friend everyone seems to love? Ask yourself, do you love yourself? The law of intention. So intention is like a vector. You can enter the forest to take a walk or to hunt a boar, and your path will be completely different. If you act to prove yourself, you'll attract people who doubt you. But if you act from love and abundance, everything unfolds differently. Intention is invisible, but it's the engine behind every event. The law of attention. Attention is your currency. Where you invest it, that's where your capital grows. Feed fear, and it grows. Feed inspiration, and it starts guiding your day. Imagine you walk around each day holding a flashlight, and you choose where to shine it, and on the problem or on the solution. The world adjusts to that light. The law of frequency. You are like a musical instrument. When you're anxious, you're out of tune. When you're in harmony, you resonate. Why do we feel good around warm people? Because their frequency is clear, like a chord from your favorite song. And around toxic ones, it's like nails on a chalkboard. You get to choose what tuning you play in. The law of exchange. Life is a dance of inhale and exhale. Even the heart beats in the rhythm of giving and receiving. Want money? Learn to give value. Want love? Learn to receive and to share. Greed and self-sacrifice are two extremes. Balance is when you give and receive without tension. The law of gratitude. Gratitude isn't about politeness. It's about tuning into the frequency of abundance. You don't give thanks because you should, but because you've noticed. It's like putting on glasses. When you wear gratitude, you start to see what you already have. And the universe says, oh, you noticed. Here, have some more. The law of acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It's like stopping the argument with the weather and grabbing an umbrella. When you accept a situation, you stop wasting energy on resistance and start taking action. Acceptance is the first step toward change. As long as you're angry, you're stuck. When you accept, you're free. The law of soul evolution. You are not a fixed version of yourself for life. You're like a mobile app, downloading updates through pain, experience, love, and failure. Every crisis is a new version loading. You're not broken. You're evolving. The law of free will. Freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about understanding why you choose what you do. You can choose to suffer or to grow. You can live on autopilot, or you can take the wheel. Free will is when you realize, I no longer want to be a victim of the script. I choose a new path. The law of responsibility. Responsibility is when you say, yes, this happened, and I choose how to respond. You're not to blame for being betrayed, but you are responsible for how it now lives within you, as a wound or as wisdom. Responsibility is the key to inner power. It's when you stop being a puppet of the world and become its co-creator. The law of lessons. Keep ending up in the same kind of relationships. Keep falling into debt again and again. It's like school. Until you pass the test, you don't move on. Life doesn't punish. It teaches. And the louder the lesson repeats, the quieter you must have heard it the first time. The law of timing. You're not late, and you're not early. You're like an apple. It can't ripen in January. There's a time to gather knowledge, a time to build, a time to rest. When you rush, you pick unripe fruit. When you're patient, you receive true ripeness. The law of cycles and repeats. Have you noticed how life keeps repeating the same scenes and only the actors change? First, it's your father who underestimates you. Then it's your boss. First, a friend betrays you. Then a partner. It's not a conspiracy. It's a law. If you don't learn the lesson, the script repeats. Not to punish you, but to teach you. The law of habit and autopilot. Your life isn't a reflection of your dreams. It's a reflection of your daily automatic actions. You won't become a confident person if every morning starts with, I can't do this. You won't become wealthy if every day you say, I can't afford that. Habits are the invisible steering wheel, and you turn it every single day, and even if you don't notice. The law of growth through resistance. When it's hard, it's not the end, it's growth. Imagine you're a butterfly in a cocoon. If someone helps you break free, you won't be able to fly. Life gives you resistance not to break you, but to strengthen you. Just like muscles, they grow through pain. So do you. The law of reality creation. You're not a tourist. You're an architect. Every thought is a brick. Every belief is a blueprint. Say, I can't, and you block your own path. Say, I'll try, and you start building it. The world isn't doing something to you. It's doing it for you and through you. And the law of imagination. Imagination is a preview of your reality. If you can't imagine it, you can't create it. Just as an architect first draws the house, you first design your life in your mind. Children do it naturally. Adults forget. Yet this is the true source of power. The law of belief. Belief is like the root of a tree. You can't see it, but it's what holds the tree during the storm. Want to receive something? If you don't believe it's possible, you won't see it. The world won't reveal what you're not tuned into on the inside. The law of inner state. You don't get what you want, you get what you've become. If you want love but live in resentment, you'll attract conflict. If you seek abundance but radiate fear, and money will keep its distance. Your inner state is a frequency, and your reality arrives on that frequency. The law of alignment. You can say, I want success, but think it's not for me, and act like I'll just go eat and forget about it. The universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to aligned vibration. When your thoughts, feelings, and actions are in sync, as if you already are the person who has it, that's when it comes. The law of resonance. You're like a tuning fork. If you vibrate with, I am worthy, you attract people who respect you. If you vibrate with, I'm insignificant, you become background in someone else's story. Resonance is when reality says, you've become what you wanted to see. Now here's your confirmation. The law of letting go. When you let go, you create space. But most people hold on to the past, to fear, to control. Imagine holding sand in your fist. The tighter you grip it, the less remains. Let go, and what's truly valuable will stay. The law of shifting focus. Your energy is like a flashlight in the dark. You can shine it on fear or on opportunity. Imagine you've lost your wallet. You can spiral into, I'm such a failure, and trigger a wave of negativity. Or you can ask, what is this here to teach me? And step into a whole new story. Focus is the entry point into reality. Where you look is where you go. The law of projection. You don't see the world as it is. You see it through the lens of your past experience. If someone once told you you're stupid, you might still hear it, even in silence. If you haven't healed your pain, you'll keep seeing offenders everywhere. The world is like a blank screen. You are the projector. Want to see a different movie? Change the film inside. The law of subconscious beliefs. 95% of your life runs on autopilot. You don't think about how you brush your teeth. In the same way, you don't notice how you keep telling yourself, I don't have enough, I'm not worthy, this isn't for me. They're like old programs running quietly in the background, and until you become aware of them, they'll keep writing the script you live by. The law of expectation. What you expect, you receive. Not because it's magic, but because you subconsciously tune your behavior, filters, and reactions to match it. Expect betrayal? You'll start looking for it in people. Expect support? You'll notice it in places you used to overlook. You don't see the world, you see your expectations about the world. The law of interpretation, two people can get caught in the rain. One says, ugh, my day is ruined. The other says, what a release, just like in a movie. The event itself is neutral. You give it meaning. And that meaning shapes your emotions, decisions, and next step. Change the interpretation, and the entire reality shifts. The law of inner dialogue. You are the main voice in your head, but often that voice sounds more like a critic than an ally. I messed it up again. Of course, you always do this. Sound familiar? It's like having a GPS that says, you're not getting anywhere, you're a loser. Want a different path? Change your inner navigator. Start talking to yourself like you would to a friend. The law of positive attitude. Positivity isn't naivety. It's a choice of perspective. You're not ignoring difficulties. You're just looking for the growth point, not the pain point. Like in a maze, if you only focus on the walls, you'll never find the way out. But if you look for the openings, you will. The law of selective perception. The brain can't process everything. It chooses what matters based on your program. Buy a red car, and suddenly you see them everywhere. Decide you're a failure, and all you notice are your mistakes. Your attention is a filter. Change the setting, and you'll see a different reality in the same room. The law of mental contagion. You're not isolated. The thoughts and states of others are contagious, like viruses, but for the mind, not the body. Spend time with a complainer, and you feel heavy too. Talk to someone inspired, and suddenly you're full of energy. Choose wisely who you sync with. You're like Wi-Fi. You connect to someone's frequency. The law of the observer. The way you look at a situation changes the situation itself. This isn't a metaphor, it's quantum physics. When you stop being entangled and become the observer, you gain the power of choice. Instead of saying, I'm suffering, you say, I notice that I'm suffering, and now I choose differently. Observation is the first step to transformation. The law of love as a creative force. Love is not romance or relationships. It's the energy that everything alive is made of. When you act from love, you activate the most powerful force in the universe. Love is not weakness, it's the architect of reality. It's choosing care over resentment, trust over control, and every such choice expands your life. The law of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean justifying. It means unchaining yourself from the pain you've been tied to. You're not setting the other person free. You're reclaiming the energy they've been holding through your hurt. Forgiveness is like removing a rusty anchor from your boat. You don't have to forget, but you can stop dragging it with you. The law of humility, Humility is not submission. It's the recognition, I don't control everything, and that's okay. You don't control time, death, or other people's choices, but you do control yourself, your choices, your attitude, your actions. Humility gives you strength. It frees you from fear and the struggle to maintain the illusion of control. The law of purity of intention. The world doesn't hear your words. It feels why you do what you do. You can help someone just to seem like a good person and be met with irritation, or you can quietly support them and your energy becomes healing. Pure intention is when you expect nothing in return. You simply radiate truth and it comes back to you. The law of joy and play. The world isn't just a school, it's also a playground. Children know this. They learn, fall, laugh, explore, and they're not afraid. But adults turn everything into duty, obligation, seriousness. And they forget that the soul doesn't grow only through pain, but also through laughter, lightness, creativity, and joy. Want to breathe again? Remember how to play. The law of abundance. The universe is not stingy. It's not a pie someone else already ate. It's an ocean you're free to draw from. But if you show up with a rusty bucket called I'm not worthy, you'll walk away with just a drop. Abundance isn't just about money. It's time, resources, inspiration, and you're already in it. You just need to learn how to receive. The law of natural order. You don't have to understand everything. Sometimes your life is guided along a path you'll only understand later. Like in chess, a piece might move backward for a few turns only to end up in a winning position. You're not losing. You're part of a greater order, even if you can't see the whole board. The law of feedback. The world is constantly speaking to you. Events, people, sensations, all of it is feedback from your inner state. Irritation, repeated failures, lack of energy. These aren't just bad days. They're signals. And if you learn to read them, you can adjust your course before the storm hits. The law of attachment and suffering. You don't suffer because you lost. You suffer because you got attached, made it necessary forever. Ask mine. Attachment is like a knot around your neck. You live with it until you realize breathing can be easier. True freedom is love without possession, a goal without fear, a dream without pain. The law of freedom through awareness. You are not a prisoner. You've simply forgotten where the key is. The key is awareness. Once you become aware, you can change. Until you see it, you're trapped. But the moment you see, you have a choice. Freedom isn't external. It begins the moment you say, I understand who I am and where I want to go. If even one of these laws touch something in you today, it's not a coincidence. It means you're ready for the next step. And it can begin right here on this channel. Subscribe to remind yourself of who you truly are. Hit like if you felt this was something you needed to hear. Share this video with someone who's searching for answers. You might help them more than you know. And in the comments, tell me, which of the 50 laws resonated with you the most? I'll create a video diving deeper into it with practices, examples, and real stories. Thank you for being here. Remember, you are a creator. Just start creating consciously.